Good evening, folks. This is Sean with History Garage, and we got ourselves another unique bringback item. We have two Japanese rifles, a sword, a bayonet, and a teacup, and along with a duffel bag that belonged to the veteran who brought them home from the war. So the first rifle here is actually the oldest one in the group. It is a 6.5 Type 38 Arisaka. This one in particular was left in China during World War II, where it was picked up by the Chinese and somehow made its way to North Korea, where it was brought home by a United States Marine veteran. The other rifle here was brought home by a United States Army veteran during the Second World War. Now, these are both Japanese Arisakas, but they're two different patterns. The differences between a Type 99 and a Type 38 Arisaka are subtle, but they are different. This is a 6.5 caliber rifle. This one is 7.7 millimeter. This has a chrome-lined bore. This does not. This has Mauser-style flip-up sights with non-protected front hoods. Now that's a big thing, especially in combat, because if you bang that around too hard, you're going to move that dovetail, and that's going to change your zero, which is why they put the protective ears on these ones. You can see I got my partner in crime, little Miss Maya. We have a full length, I believe this is walnut, but we're not exactly sure. A full length walnut stock that is one solid piece. Now, this guy is split into multiple pieces on purpose in order to prevent it from cracking due to the lack of quality hardwood in Japan during the Second World War. This rifle is very unique in that its previous owner must have not had the absolute best day, because he was probably bleeding from his forehead while he was aiming down the sight of his gun. Can't really prove it, but all we know is that that is most definitely blood. You can see the split. It's actually, we would have to take the butt plate off, but it's dovetailed incorrectly. See, it has a dust cover, which is a unique feature of the Japanese guns. It's got a rotating rotating flag safety. Bolt hold open. And pretty standard serrated trigger. This guy also has its intact aircraft sights. These sights with these wings on here are so that you can try to track a biplane with them, because they seriously thought you'd be shooting at low-flying aircraft during the Second World War. Turned out to really not be the case, but, you know, so on and so forth. Hindsight's 20/20. It's missing the monopod, but they weren't that awesome to begin with. Got the bayonet and the cleaning rod, which is unique, being that it is a push-button detent housing. I just think that that is freaking cool, because not a lot of guns had things and features that were thought that well through. Very good rifle, in my opinion. Extremely misunderstood in the United States, extremely misrepresented. They had a bad reputation for exploding because Americans who don't read Japanese would go to Japan, pick up the school rifles, and bring them home, and then they'd put a regular round through them and blow themselves to pieces. Happened more often than once, and they got a bad reputation for it. So the dust covers are unique, but they are also interchangeable between the two models. As you can see, I'm taking the dust cover off the 99 and putting it on the 38. Come on. Oftentimes, U.S. service members would throw these away because they were a pain in the butt to get on and off correctly. There we go. Ta-da! Just a uniquely Japanese thing. These actually did exceptionally well at protecting the rifles from dirt, dust, and debris. And I don't understand why more Western nations didn't copy this general design, because I feel like having an open action like the Mauser style, which these are, would be quite susceptible to dust, mud, debris, so on and so forth. Oops. See the chrome lined bolt face? That's kind of neat. Compared to the other one, which is not chrome lined. As you can see, much easier to do without the dust cover, which is honestly why most American service members just sort of threw them away. They thought they were pointless. They weren't. We have a Japanese Type 19 Kyogunto, which is a Japanese officer sword. Now, these were not combat swords, but they are officer swords made for ceremonies, parades, giving commands. And this one is in phenomenally good shape. Survived the war. Dude who owned it was a very, very tiny man. Like, my goodness, that would fit most American children. And that was a full-blown Japanese colonel, probably. My goodness. So we have the man's sword. We have the sheath for the bayonet. And we have the U.S. government laundry bag of the veteran who brought them home, along with a Japanese porcelain teacup from probably the 20s or the 30s. We're not exactly sure. But it's in very good shape and is absolutely gorgeous. It's all hand painted. Still, obviously, it's still good. We got the little T insert. Then we have these. Japan was well known for their textile industry, and these came with the rifle. They're just fancy handkerchiefs with flowers. The Japanese loved their flowers. Which, if we get a close-up on it, this sword has a chrysanthemum flower on it right there. That was the same flower that was right here and right here, but out of respect for the Japanese emperor, they ground them off at the end of the Second World War in order to preserve his honor. One more item that we have here that is also unique is a hand-carved Japanese dragon. I don't know exactly how old it is, but being that they all came back with Mr. Samuel Rio's gear, I assume that it's from the 20s or the 30s or possibly the 40s himself. He spent some time in Japan during the occupation, and I assume that that's where he picked these items up at. They were probably sitting in a pile at one point, and that was the norm. When the Japanese surrendered the guns and the weapons, they would put them in a pile, and the Americans would go and pick through them what they wanted, and the rest they would often either cut into pieces or toss into the ocean. There's quite a few famous photographs of the Japanese arms dumping at the end of the Second World War in Tokyo Bay. We'll cut to that here and have a picture of it in a few moments. And then along with the Jade Dragon, or the Stone Dragon, we have this crystal ball and this rock with a ring or a hole through it. If anybody knows what these are and what significance they have in Japanese culture, please leave a comment in the links below. Just a unique little collection of bring-back items from the Second World War. I hope that you guys appreciate this, and I will see you all again very soon. Have a good evening.